Hello guys, good afternoon. Welcome to this GitLab series. In this episode, we'll be talking about include. So actually what is include if it has a definition? Well, include is just a keyword that GitLab uses to actually denote the fact that we would create a separate YAML file and then include them into the main GitLab runner pipeline basically. It's just really a way to declutter a GitLab pipeline when it is growing out of proportion. So you kind of like create like reusable YAML files and then subsequently include it into or onto the main GitLab pipeline file. So let's have a look here. So I'm just going to go and just go to the next slide here. So let's look at an example here. Here is a scenario one, which is now using include to import external configuration. So in this case, let's say we have a base configuration. So let's say, that can be called any name, but in this case, we're just calling it common -ci that contains common jobs and variables. In this case, we can now include it into the main.gitlab-ci.yaml file. So look at this one. Say, for example, here is that common-ci.yaml file. That include in this YAML file, you can pretty much declare everything. But an example we looked at is where we have like a baseline job that we want everybody to like, to actually be able to call, or like some stages and a pipeline to call. In this case, we have like probably you can just declare global variables. An example here, global var, and then you just assign a value to it. But then you can then go forward or like go extra mile to sort of like create kind of a pseudo stage, which is what we saw when we looked at extend. So you can create that kind of a stage here to say here is an extend stage, dot common-template. This can be called anything. But in this case, once you say dot, it is no longer a stage. It is now like a pseudo stage that any other stage can then include or can then extend onto themselves. So in this case, we're just creating a base called common-template, and then we got a script here. You can have all those kind of things you want, but these ones are the ones that we want them to actually have by default. So we have script section. Here is just having a hello world. We got tags. We got before script. You can carry on and just have all sort of things. But let's move on to the next slide. Here is the main pipeline in GitLab.gitlab-ci.yaml, obviously the main configuration file. And in this case, the word include can then be invoked here. So we just invoke it, and then we can say, use the word local and specify the path where that file is located. Once this is done, the pipeline stage can then make reference to actually that name that is created on the previous file. So if I go back one step, you can see that this is called common-ci. Here is the name of the file. But then here, this is the stage that we're invoking. And automatically, all these variables will now be included in that pipeline. So let's have a look. So in this case, again, just one more time, here is the main one again. So now we can now automatically, once we have just referenced this, we can automatically just use the word extend, and then just because we have included it now, so the extend works. In the previous one we looked at, this extend was just to create it somewhere here and then just invoke it here. So still the same. And then again, just to prove that the global variables that we declare over there would actually be accessible here, I am just like printing out, just echoing out the global var. This would also print out something. So here is an example one. And again, obviously this is the first stage here. As you can see, this is probably, let's say this is build stage. There might be test stage or anything else. In this case, I have a test stage as well. So the next stage, you can also include that as well. Extend that same thing, because every single stage can see that. So they are kind of now global. And then on the script again, I'm just echoing this out. So this will run whatever job that is defined there. and anything else you have defined here would override whatever that is now defined within that. So explanation basically is what this is really. So the include keyword in onto this main pipeline area imports this common YAML file from which contains a job template and a common variables. Those would be imported onto this area basically. So let's see example 2. In fact, before we see examples 2, let's see different kinds of include you can actually use. So in this include, you can obviously, I've just shown you an example with using the local one, but here are the 3 that GitLab people have actually created that you can actually use. So the first one actually is the remote. This example is the one that you use whereby you have created probably like a GitLab repo somewhere, and you have defined all sort of like templates that you want people to actually be able to use. So once you have done that and you have a URL, proper formed URL and domain to it, you can just use this one. And in this case, you've got to change this word from local to actually remote. And then you can just specify the path. So it still works the same way, the same usage. But if you have it locally on your project, that this is not actually on a proper domain somewhere, you've got to just use it like local and then specify the path with the actual file name wherever it is. And then the third one is the one that is actually predefined by GitLab. GitLab actually have created some actual templates as well. So if you're using those from GitLab, you don't need to actually quote it actually. You can just use the word template. So these are the 3 ones you can use. I mean, option is yours really. You can actually just go with this auto templates that GitLab already made. This is really good. Some companies actually use them. When you use them, you can actually, just like other ones as well, you can override whatever is in there. But what you haven't overridden would actually run when you use this one. So pay attention. So that is why most people normally would just use either this one or this one. But there are companies really, or people, DevOps engineer, that actually just go on and use this one. So whatever one you want to use. So let's see if we can just look at like one more example as well. So here is the one that is using this GitLab template actually. So again, you just go ahead and say include, and then use the word template. This template is now replacing the word local or like remote. Just specify here. In this one, this is the auto develop. Once you specify this now, this auto develop, you can actually just go and browse and go in onto it. When you go onto it, you can see all sort of things that GitLab people actually define within that. So you can just like see what they have declared. But what happens is that they have sort of like stages. They have things like build, test, all of those, deploy, all of those stages. Once you define any of the stage on your job, this would plug in by you doing this extend thing again and do .build. And then once you do this, it's kind of power boosting what you've got. So any things that you have defined, for instance, if you define a script, it will override theirs. But then the rest of the things, like the meaty ones they have within them, will then run on your job. So it's really good to actually say good practice to actually use theirs if you want to do that. But you can also create yours really. I think 9 out of 10 people like tend to create their own ones actually. So again, you can see here, they are also, because they have done this template here, they have extended the test section of this pipeline. And once they have extended that, they just do like script and then a few things like only here now, then the rest would obviously come from theirs. So that's an example 2. So let's see an typical example that we want to have today as an example. We are going to go and do local one. You can try the rest of them if you want to. In this case here, I've defined the variables in a common -ci YAML. I mean, today we can just change this file name, but this is what I want to show you guys. So here is variable. In this one, I have declared 2 variables. Here is address. Here is my website. Check out my website. And again, I'm asking you, I'm just declaring a second variable here. I'm saying ask, I'm just asking to subscribe to my channel. So now that I've defined these two variables here at the top, these variables will now be accessible once I have included this into or onto the GitLab pipeline. Again, you can declare as many base jobs as you like, but just remember to actually just use this dot. So this dot makes it kind of a template. In this case here, I've just called it base, obviously whatever you want to call. This name can be anything really, but just remember to put this dot. So in this case, we are going to continue with the previous project where we were running Cypress project. So in this case, there'll be Cypress project here, image. Obviously, I'm going to use the latest image. I am going to have before scripts. Basically, the thing we use in the stage when we had the lesson for extend is what I literally just moved over here. So in this one, before the script, it would cd on into this directory. It would just run npm run ci build, and then it would just check the directory just to see where we are, list out all the directories. After the job is finished, I'm also having after script. I mean, I can define script here, but I know that I would override it. So it's pointless now defining them here. So in that case that I've created this standalone file, wherever it is, I will now go on to my CI/CD pipeline. And then now, because I created it locally myself, you see the word now changes from template that I've shown you previously to now local. And if it's actually hosted in a different repository, this would then be remote. And I'll just put the path. I mean, if it's in a different directory, you can just obviously specify that, but this is the path, stroke, the file name itself. Once that is done, you come to any of the stages you want to like power boost. And then just like in this case is the accessibility Chrome stage. So what we want to do here is the stage is E. I want to extend. Now I'm extending what is actually inside this file, which is .base job. So once I extend this now, I'm now having to only include the script artifacts. So these are the ones that I think are unique to this project here. But then it will run before script, which isn't on the other file, and it will also run after script here. So those comes, bag and baggage into this like file automatically by the word this include. So that's what includes. So very quickly here, this is the previous project that we were working on. You can see quickly that we have this stage here that is called as base Cypress, and it has all of these fancy things that we just talked about. There is a stage for, there's section for line number 7 here is for image. This is for before script. This is after script as well. I mean, you can have more things, but just for simplicity's sake, really, this is what we want to move now. We want to actually just cut this out. So I've just done Control X just to cut it out. Now I will then go and create wherever you like. So I will just go and create it here just so you can see that. So I can just call this as common pipeline. So I just call it common pipe. Let's say common pipes .yaml. So just remember to call it a YAML file. So now I'll just create this here like that. And then once I've done this now, you can also, if you want to have variables, you can put variables, but it's not mandatory. Remember what I've just shown you on this slide, that variables here, if you put it here, they'll be global. If you don't, it's still fine. You can have it, or you may not want to have them as well. It's up to you. But what we've done is that we just move this onto this separate file here. And then the next thing we want to do is to copy this name here. Actually, you can copy the path because that's actually what you want. The actual path is what we want. And once we copy that, just remember what we've done. It's just to come here and then do the word include. Well, it can come before or after any of this. It doesn't matter where it is. But for the sake of argument, I like to keep it at the top so I can see what is happening. So in this case, I'll just go here to the main one. And you can see that I've just cut it off here, decluttering this place. So I have cut it off. I will then come over to this place and just, oh, sorry, if I just click on this, oh, I can't type. What's going on? Yeah, now that I'm here, so I'll just do the word include. So when I do this include, I would say include. So here I'll just say local because that's what I want to do. Now I like to quote this, but basically just the path. So let's paste this. If you paste it this way, it's fine, but this is suggesting a local path because we copy the path. So this is relative to this directory here. So I can just take out all of these things that I really don't need. So I'll just get rid of this and just get rid of this. And this way is fine. Well, if you actually put it in a directory, just mention the directory name slash this file name, but this file name is what is important. If I go here and show you, so you can see this is now include local and then this file name. Again, what I was trying to say is if you have a file name, let me look for the one that actually specify a real file name as well. Like in this one, I think there is one here. So if I max this out, you can kind of see, okay, this one doesn't have a file name. But if you have a file name like this one, just specify the file name relative to the path where you are. So you can see this is local file name slash the script name. So that's what I'm just trying to say. So the next thing we now need to do is to obviously just make sure this is included nicely. Once it is, we will then extend this. So let's go. So here, this obviously just remember to do that because it's a YAML file. So I want to type this. I want to type this a little bit just to make sure it's fine. So this is now included properly. I now don't need to do anything else because remember that when we talked about extend, that this stage here was actually defined within at the top here, and I just cut it off. But it is now added onto this place. It's also added onto this one. It's also added onto this one. So essentially, the word include is really there just to declutter your pipeline, basically. So if I push this pipeline upstream now to the origin and run this job, this would actually give me a smooth run. So let's have a look. I'm just going to go here and just do git status and see git add. And I'll just say this is, I'll just say created. So let's say implemented include concept. Implemented include concepts. Press an enter. And then I just do git push origin main, press an enter, and we wait for this to actually finish. So let's go to the pipeline upstream and see how things are doing, and then we can see. So let's go here, just click on this one, and then we're going to go here. So this is running, and you can essentially see that there's actually no problem. If there was any problem, it would have crashed out by now, but let's have a look and see what's going on. And then we wait for this until this finishes. Okay, so this job is complete now. Let's review. So the first thing you can see is that this Docker image is getting pulled, meaning that it's now able to see. And then you can see that this is CI change directory into this. These are the stages or like the steps that we define onto the before scripts. Here is the one that is just running for the before the actual script. You're just going to go ahead and run the test. When the test finishes, you can see the after script here. The after script gets executed as well. So what did we say? We said list out the directory where we are. So it's just going to list it out. You can see the common -pipes YAML is actually just running, and then the job finishes smoothly. If anything is failing, it wouldn't have anything to do with like the pipeline itself. It would be something else maybe failing, but this is how include works. Include essentially is used to declutter the main pipeline by moving the scripts away from this main pipeline and keeping it elsewhere. So if there are other base things that you think all of these jobs are going to use, please just move them away onto the next, like a new other thing as well quickly. the one I wanted to show you is like, let's say you have like, let's say pipes here, or like pipe templates or templates. Let's call it pipelines. Pipelines. If you have pipelines, you can just move this. Let's say you have too many of these common files, like making templates, maybe one for Java, one for Ruby, Python, like in a big organization, you can do that. But once you've done that, now you have moved this around. What you have to now do, as we said, is to now come here and just say pipeline, sorry, pipelines / like that. And you can just push this job again and run the job. The job should still run as normal. Again, just remember quickly, as we are summarizing, is to that the other one, if it's coming from a GitLab somewhere or like a different repository. So what you have to change this one, you change this one to remote. If you change this to remote, then you have to like remove the first one. And again, if you're using the template made from, obviously made from the GitLab guys, this one would continue to give an error. It has to be a full domain, as we said. So let's say GitLab.com and all of that. So, and then again, if you're using the other one, the template one, just remember to actually just say template here. Oh, sorry, just do template here, and enter. And then you just put the template. The template comes from GitLab themselves. You have to actually go to AutoDevop and find out the specific template that you need. But this is how it works. Thanks so much. I'm just going to delete this one, and then we can just push this job. But thank you. That is it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Please subscribe to my channel. Please. Thank you.